Hi, good morning from Iloilo City here in the Philippines. My wife and I decided to do sort of an impromptu interview here on the Esplanade in the Molo district. So just wanted to give you guys some context of our trip and sort of our history here. So go ahead, hon.
Yeah, good morning. So here are the questions. Why do you like the Philippines?
Why do I like the Philippines? Well, first of all, because I met you and you were sort of the reason why I like it so much. My attraction to the Philippines really began with you, with my wife. We met online back in 2007. And of course, I traveled here for 2 months on my first trip, and I spent 60 days in Manila and specifically in Pasig. So that was kind of my first introduction to the Philippines. But having stayed here for 2 months back in 2007, that's when I really fell in love with the country. Even though I was in the city, there was just something different about it, and I've been in love with it ever since.
Yes, okay. The second question, can you speak the language?
Can I speak the language? I can. Kante lang. I've learned enough Tagalog to sort of get me by. I can order food. I know a little bit of the numbers. So I know enough Tagalog to sort of get me by. I can say, salamat, walang anuman, which means thank you and you're welcome, and just enough to sort of get me by and to allow me to blend in a little bit with the people. The people here really smile when they hear me speaking Tagalog. People recognize me as a foreigner, but when I speak the language, it definitely sort of bridges the gap, if you will. It's been a big help, and I love the language, and will continue to study and learn it.
Well, that's good. Third one, are there any drawbacks that when you are in the Philippines?
Are there any drawbacks to when I'm in the Philippines? Not really. Not that I can really think of. It's very, very warm here. It's a tropical marine climate. So it's comparable to, in my climate in the northeastern United States, when we get these Bermuda highs and it's hot and humid. It's like that here all year round, pretty much. You can probably see the sweat on my skin as I speak this morning. It's pretty early. It's 8 o'clock here, and I'm already in a full body sweat. But I don't really mind the heat. As long as you stay hydrated, it's not really a problem. I'll be honest. I think the biggest drawback here for me personally is sort of the pollution. Garbage and litter, things like that, which is common in the U.S. as well. But I particularly notice things. Like here we're on the Iloilo River, and I look down and I can see there's garbage, there's plastic, and plastic takes a long time to decompose, and so I see a lot of garbage here. And this city has done a great job in terms of beautification, but I do see some garbage here, and the garbage that I see here, it may have been here for a long time. Like I said, it takes a long time to degrade, so that's kind of the only drawback really that I can think of at this.
The fourth one, where have you traveled in the Philippines?
So where I've traveled in the Philippines, like I mentioned earlier, my first trip here was in Manila back in 2007. I stayed there for 2 months between mid-August 2007 until mid-October 2007, and we did go to on that trip, on one of the last weekends, we traveled here to Iloilo City so I could meet my wife's mother and her family. So that was the first time that I traveled here to Iloilo, and that was just for a weekend. It was during the rainy season, so it was a rainy weekend, so we spent a lot of time indoors, but that Sunday morning it finally stopped raining, so we were able to kind of walk around downtown but it was very quiet. There were hardly any people around. And so going from Manila, which was just bursting with people, especially women, and then coming here, it was almost like a ghost town. But that's completely changed. Iloilo is going through a huge economic renaissance right now. There's people everywhere, and there's tremendous growth. You can recognize it. I've seen some really big changes here, all for the better. So yeah, those are the two primary places. My family and I came here in 2018 during the Christmas season, and we traveled to Tagaytay, which was just amazing. We got to see Lake Taal. Tagaytay is a very beautiful place with their pine trees. That's sort of a coniferous tree, if you will. So yeah, I've only been to 3 places so far: Manila, Tagaytay, and Iloilo.
So are there any other destinations you would like to see?
Oh yes, absolutely. There are many places that I'd like to see here. Specifically, I'd like to travel to Palawan, El Nido, and Coron. Baguio City is on my hot list because it's at a higher elevation. It looks cooler, so I know the climate is probably more similar to where we live in the Northeast United States. I'd also like to check out, Leyte. I've seen some interesting videos. Ormoc, and I mean, ultimately, I'd like to visit every major island. I feel like there's something unique here in terms of all the little cities here have something unique to offer. Bacolod, Dumaguete. There's so many places I want to visit, but when we travel back here, the two places I definitely want to hit are Palawan and Baguio for sure.
Mm-hmm. So the 5th question: why are you here? So it's already answered.
Well, I mean, why am I here this time? My son is, he's going to be a senior in high school this coming fall. And so next summer he'll be busy getting ready for college. So we thought this was the perfect opportunity to come here before he takes his next step in terms of his evolution as a student. And we know we're going to be busy with him, getting him ready for college. So we thought this would be the best time. He's grown so much. The family hasn't seen him in 5 years, and he's so much taller. And so yeah, we decided to come this year mainly for those reasons.
Number 6, how is the weather?
The weather's hot. We're here now during the rainy season, but it's a beautiful blue sky morning. And, like I explained earlier, it's very warm. But certainly, it's manageable. You just have to sort of know yourself and know what your limitations are. And the other key is hydrology. Like hydration, I'm sorry. You just have to stay hydrated, make sure you're drinking a lot of water. I always carry a big water with me wherever I go because I do sweat a lot. I haven't had a lot of Boko juice this trip, but I've been drinking a lot of water. It is the rainy season, so I feel like we picked the right time. It was incredibly hot during the last dry season, like record heat. And I think we would have probably spent more time inside just because it is hot during the day. I mean, I'm not going to lie. There are times, even during a rainy season, where it's so warm, you want to go inside. You want to go to the mall where there's air conditioning. But I love the rainy season because it is overcast, so you are protected from the sun. It does shower, there's on and off showers, sometimes downpours, but they only last a few minutes. And there's breezes, right? When the rain comes in, the winds sort of pick up, so that definitely helps. So if you're new to the Philippines, I would recommend coming during the rainy season because you're going to be cooler. Yeah, you might, it's not as picturesque, but you will have blue sky days here and there. It's not a total washout. So yeah, I highly recommend the rainy season.
How is the food?
The food is masarap, which means very delicious. I love the food here. That's one of the big attractions for me. I've had lots of good food here so far on this trip. We've been eating at Carinderias for breakfast, and a Carinderia is just sort of a local restaurant where you can get cheap meals. I've had beef tapa for breakfast. I've had sinigang. Even just rice and eggs, and saging, which is banana.
Laswa. It's like a local
Laswa, which is
Iloilo vegetable soup.
it's a local vegetable soup that I actually really love. I've been trying to focus more on veggies. I mean, admittedly, you can get carried away. You have to watch what you eat here because there is a lot of sort of high cholesterol foods, if you will. So you have to be conscious in terms of kind of maintaining that balance. And so this week in particular, I've tried to focus more on veggies and just sort of. Whereas last week was our first week, and I was kind of indulging a lot. But I've been more conscious this week and eating smaller portions and not having beef tapa for breakfast, for example. But the food is great. The desserts are great. We've had a few halo-halos, which is one of my favorite snacks here. It's I could probably do a whole episode on halo-halo, but it's just a delicious snack, if you will.
Mm-hmm. How are the people?
The people here are super friendly, and that's one of the main attractions too. I mean, even going back to my first trip, I've never felt threatened here. People smile. People are friendly. If you smile at someone, they always smile back. It's just. I feel like I haven't traveled too much around the world, but I feel like the people of the Philippines are probably some of the most friendliest people in the entire world. People are always happy for the most part, and generous, smiling. I feel like the people here are, again, some of the friendliest I've ever met, and some of the most beautiful people.
That's good. How is the traffic or how's driving?
Well, it's a great question. I mean, I think it depends on where you are in the Philippines. I'll use EDSA in Manila as an example, and EDSA is probably some of the worst traffic in the world. It's just bumper to bumper. It can take you hours just to travel 2 miles. Here in Iloilo, the traffic, it depends on the day. It depends on the time of day. For example, here comes a motorcycle, which I believe are illegal on the Esplanade, but people break the rules here just like they do everywhere. But yeah, traffic is in Iloilo City specifically. Depends on the time of day. So, it's busy in rush hour morning traffic, and obviously at rush hour nighttime traffic, it's very busy. But again, it's manageable. My wife and I rented a car, and I drove yesterday, and yeah, it wasn't bad. I mean, you just have to sort of slow down. You're going to have more people walking out in front of you. You're going to have pedicabs. You're going to have a little more distractions than what we're used to in the U.S. But again, the key is just taking your time, being patient, using your horn. In the U.S., we use our horns more defensively or if we're upset at someone. Here, the horn is more of an offensive mechanism. You're tooting the horn just to let people know you're coming. And so that's sort of the big difference here. But again, it depends on the time of day, but overall, not bad.
That's good. How about the public transportation?
I would say the public transportation is very good. We rented a car just so we could get outside the city and explore some of the areas outside of Iloilo. But overall, I think the public transportation is very good. You have different levels. You have jeepneys. You have the modern jeepney, which is sort of a new style of jeepney. Very affordable. I mean, we can take a jeepney into town and pay $1.50. Whereas in the U.S., you're going to pay probably $20 for a taxi, maybe more. I mean, we were in Boston before we came here, and we took a taxi from North Station to Chelsea, and I think it was $20 or $25. Mm-hmm. I mean, here you can take a taxi for the same distance and pay $1 or $1.50. So it's very, very, very much more affordable, very cheap compared to the U.S. And comfortable. They always have the air conditioners cranking, and it's fun talking with the local taxi drivers. Very friendly again, because the people are so friendly here. You talk with the drivers; they're curious about you. but these are people that are actually maintaining. We've seen some workers watering the flowers here and doing trimming and keeping it beautiful because it is a beautiful esplanade. But yeah, getting back to the transportation, so you have jeepneys, you have obviously taxis, you also have tricycles, which is a motorcycle with a little sidecar. Those are kind of small for me. You know, I'm 6 foot, so it's hard for me to sit in those. My head, usually I just have to sort of crouch down, and it's kind of uncomfortable. And then they also have pedicabs, which is almost like a tricycle. I mean, it is a tricycle, but it's just a person pedaling his or her bike. But yeah, I think the public transportation is very good. It doesn't take any time at all to flag down a taxi or a pedicab or whatever you want. So yeah, I think the transportation here is quite good.
That's good. Okay, random question. Okay, how is it being married to a Filipina so far?
How is it married being to a Filipina so far? I think it's very good. You know. For me, myself, I mean, I can't, obviously I don't represent all Filam marriages, but, I think being married to a Filipina is special and interesting because they're so caring, they're so devoted to family, they're devoted to their spouse, and that's really reciprocal. I feel like my wife and I have a good balance. And, just like any marriage, we're going on our 16th anniversary this fall, and just like any marriage, we have ups and downs, but nothing too major. I mean, we're happy, and when different challenges come up, we're able to navigate through them. We talk. I think it was harder at first because when we first got married, there is the idea of tempo, where Filipinas kind of get quiet and sort of isolate themselves away from you. That was hard, and it took me a while to get used to that. And so I was proactive in talking about tempo with my wife and sort of talking about ways to sort of overcome it. And I mean, she's rarely tempo. She's rarely tempo now, just because our communication is good and we don't reach those levels of tempo, not like we used to at the beginning. But yeah, very devotional and amazing.
Okay. Lastly, what will you tell other men or Westerners looking for Filipina wife or girlfriend?
I mean, I would say, there's different schools of thought out there. I mean, I would say if you're a Westerner and you're looking for a Filipino girlfriend, I would suggest, you can go online. There are different websites out there, Christian Filipina. I mean, obviously, I think Facebook has a dating mechanism now, but I would strongly suggest, if you're beautiful birds here singing close by, I would suggest if you're interested in dating a Filipina, I would suggest coming here. Spend at least. So if you're coming from the United States, you're automatically guaranteed a 30-day visa, right? So you come here. Either by yourself or with friends. Most likely you're going to be by yourself. Don't be afraid to come here by yourself. The people here are friendly. You'll be treated very, very cordially. Westerners, Americans are very respected here. I would say come here and just start hanging out. Go out to eat, go to the malls. You're going to see beautiful women everywhere. And if someone catches your eye, go up, talk to them, approach them, just say hi, just get to know them. And eventually you will connect with someone, I wouldn't go with the, the sort of the matchmaking method, if you will. I would suggest you coming here, meet someone online by yourself. Do it all by yourself. Don't let anyone else sort of introduce you to someone, or I find, I met my wife all by myself. I didn't have any help from anyone, and we have a solid relationship. And I've seen other relationships where friends would introduce friends to another one, and like there's sort of that connection there, and it hasn't always worked out because it wasn't as organic. So again, I recommend you come here and travel by yourself, hang out in Manila or Cebu or Iloilo or any major city. Just come here and hang out, and you will meet people. You will connect with someone, and you'll see beautiful people here. You'll see beautiful women, and just go talk to them. They're open, they're friendly, and even if it doesn't work out, just over time, eventually it will. So that's kind of my suggestion.
Good. Okay. Any last few?
No. I think I've summarized everything quite nicely here. It's a beautiful culture. The weather is great. It's kind of like if you've ever been to Florida, or I've never been to Hawaii, but I'm assuming it's similar. It's very very warm, very humid. So if you can handle that type of weather, you'll do just fine here. But the people are nice here. The weather is beautiful. The nature is beautiful. I mean, everything is beautiful. The food is great. I obviously have some kind of a bias just because I love it so much, but I want to circle back a little bit on the drawbacks. The other drawback about coming here is the actual flight. I mean, it can take anywhere between 24 and 36 hours just to get here. So when you arrive, you're going to be exhausted. You're going to be tired. So it's hard, when you first come here, you're going to be so tired that you may be like, wow, why did I come here, right? But go to sleep, rest up, get synced up, and then once you're rested, go outside for your first breakfast. You'll really start enjoying it. It is tough to get here, but it pays off in so many ways when you do finally arrive and you're finally rested. It's a beautiful place.